Tonight on To The Point, examining the impact of Prop 1 in Sacramento, how the county plans to use the new funding, and why critics say there needs to be more accountability. Plus, the latest effort to recall Governor Gavin Newsom moves forward when it could appear on your ballot.
Rain and snow moving through tonight with more of that precipitation on the way for the weekend ahead. How much we could see.
And later, big changes to the Sacramento arts and entertainment scene, when and where you can expect a new concert venue.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. Proposition 1 narrowly passed, and we know that that's Governor Gavin Newsom's sweeping overhaul of the state's mental health system. So what now? Becca Habegger spoke with the sheriff about what he'd like to see the money used on, and an opponent who says that taxpayers need to be watching this spending very closely.
Here's the hard truth.
Sacramento Sheriff Jim Cooper appeared in one of the Yes on Prop 1 ads.
Prop 1 creates new facilities to treat mental illness, funds thousands of new mental health professionals, and builds housing to get people off the streets.
As a quick refresher, Prop 1 does two main things. First, it authorizes the state to borrow nearly $6.4 billion in bonds. $2 billion of that is to create housing for the unhoused population. The rest would pay for new facilities for mental health and addiction treatment. The specifics of that spending were left to be decided later. The other thing Prop 1 does is reallocates existing funding. A millionaire tax established in '04 raises a few $1 billion per year, most of which has gone to counties. Prop 1 would change the balance, giving a little more to the state. Now that Prop 1 has passed, Sheriff Cooper hopes to fund more social workers for his crisis intervention teams.
We paired deputy sheriff with a mental health worker to go out and contact these folks. It's been very successful. We need more folks like that. I would love to have dozens of them.
He says too many people experiencing homelessness with mental health and addiction issues end up in jail or the emergency room. Prop 1 is supposed to create altogether more than 11,000 new treatment beds and housing units.
Some folks go to jail and get on medication and they get well. It shouldn't take jail to do that. There's got to be a place on the outside where the same thing can happen with that. Get them the help they need on the forefront, not on the back end.
I doubt this will make much of a dent on anything.
John Kupal is president of the Howard Jarvis Taxpayers Association, which opposes Prop 1.
We opposed it because we thought it was a misuse of bond financing. If the programs that they wanted to fund were of that importance, then it should be funded out of the general fund.
He says bond financing is often used to build specific brick and mortar structures.
And one of the criticisms from the LAO, the legislative analysts, was that the spending plan was very unspecific. And so that's what taxpayers and voters should be looking at, exactly how this money is spent.
Others wary of Prop 1 include counties who feared losing funds for important programs. Butte County told ABC 10 the passage of Prop 1 means $6 million taken from early intervention and prevention programs.
Programs that are like vocational in nature that help people with employment, outreach programs such as our African American Cultural Center or our Hmong Cultural Center. We also have some programs like our Stonewall Alliance, which serves LGBTQ individuals, or our homeless outreach teams, among others.
And Becca joins us right now. Just to put this in perspective, I mean, California is estimated to have about 181,000 homeless people.
Yeah, Alex, that's just a few thousand more than the entire population of Elk Grove, according to the 2020 census. Prop 1 will also help the state fully implement the care court system. You remember, approved by lawmakers in 2022, was the new court system to address the needs of people with severe mental illness. It can include, but only after other interventions, putting someone into a conservatorship. But steps before that can include treatment plans, access to housing, and court-ordered medication.
And we want to mention that many counties are in the process of figuring out what the passage of Prop 1 means for them. So this is something that we will continue to follow. Becca, thank you so much. All right, the latest effort to recall Governor Gavin Newsom is moving forward after the Secretary of State approved the gathering of signatures. And per state code, supporters must gather more than 1.3 million valid signatures from California voters by September 3rd for the recall to qualify. And back in February, the group Rescue California announced it was filing a notice of intent to recall Newsom. They cited several reasons, including the state's growing homeless problem, high taxes, rising crime rates, and immigration issues. And you may remember back in 2021, Newsom fought off a recall effort in a special election. The recall attempt was spurred by groups of Californians who were upset with the governor's statewide policies at the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic back in 2020. Now, in September of 2021, majority of Californians voted against recalling Newsom, allowing him to remain in office. An update to a story that we brought you last night. Sacramento City Council has approved a resolution to make Sacramento a sanctuary city for transgender people. And the resolution passed unanimously after a large group of people had a chance to be heard on the issue. The resolution ensures that no city resources would be used to detain people wanting care or cooperate with other jurisdictions trying to enforce such laws. So you can read that entire resolution for yourself. It's on our website, abc10.com. Just click on this story. And tonight, the close-knit community of Forest Hill is in mourning following a crash that killed a 16-year-old and hurt several other teenagers. ABC 10's Roxanne Elias has more from the families in Forest Hill as CHP investigates the crash.
Not far from the heart of Forest Hill, the scene of a deadly crash is clearly visible to those who drive by. It happened Tuesday morning shortly after 1 a.m. There are tire marks in the dirt and broken glass on the ground. But what stands out the most is the sadness of a community that lost the 16-year-old driver while 4 other passengers recover at the hospital.
It's kind of heartbreaking, especially when it's kids here, so close to everybody.
According to the CHP, the driver did not correctly make a curve in the road, headed eastbound on Forest Hill Road, and hit a tree. He died, and the other passengers, either 16 or 17 years old, have major injuries. They are further investigating, but say alcohol may have been a contributing factor. Susan Webb is a mother of 2 and says she immediately thought of her 14-year-old daughter, who's about to go into high school.
I'd be devastated. And like I was telling you just a little while ago, I would rather her call me and be upset.
Residents say the teens involved were students at Forest Hill High School. The district responded by sharing Forest Hill High School, along with the entire Placer Union High School district, is mourning the loss of a student. Such tragedies, especially when they involve young people, are very difficult to process. Community resources have been provided to our students and staff, and following spring break, additional counselors, mental health specialists, and chaplains will be on site. Webb says she wants the families to know everyone in Forest Hill cares and that families are pulling for them.
Hopefully, this is a life lesson learned and that all the kids pulled through and they're okay. And I guess everybody's thinking of them that is here in the community because there was a lot of comments and prayers out there. So.
And we are waiting to hear back from the families who are at the hospital with the teens who are recovering. But if you would like to support, there are a few ways that you can donate, and we will share those links on our website. Take a look at this. A 9-year-old crashed into a CHP officer in Orville this morning while trying to drive himself to school. And it happened at Grand Avenue in 4th Street. CHP says the kid led them on a short chase and then eventually ended up ramming into a patrol car. Both vehicles had minor damage, but luckily nobody was hurt, and that boy, he was eventually taken to school. All right, tonight investigators say that 2 bodies were recovered from a pickup found in the water near Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge. The bridge collapsed yesterday after a cargo ship hit it, and officials say they were both construction workers who were working on the bridge when it collapsed. In total, crews are looking for 6 people. Investigators say the 4 others are also presumed dead, citing hazardous conditions, unpredictable currents, and of course, frigid temperatures.
Work is undergoing to recover their remains, and our thoughts and prayers are with their loved ones whose lives are never going to be the same.
Investigators boarded the cargo ship today to collect evidence and survey the damage. The Coast Guard is also launching their own investigation. They say that they are planning for the process of removing the 200 million ton ship and then reopening the waterway. Still ahead tonight, on To the Point, the future of a new concert venue in Sacramento when it's expected to be completed.
We are tracking lines of showers moving across Northern California tonight. How much rain and snow is on the way?
And later, an alarming new trend among young people with cancer diagnoses, why they're happening earlier.
We're not powerless to stop this. There are things that we can do to protect ourselves.
Tonight, answers from doctors about why they think more young adults are getting sick. All right, let's take a look at our forecast. Meteorologist Carly Gomez here right now because we have a winter storm in spring that's already started today.
It's here. We're seeing that rain already in the valley and that snow in the Sierra right now. As that storm system makes its way from the Pacific Northwest with bands of rain moving into our area, you can actually see the swirling happening there. I like to call it that low pressure, a little bit of like a cinnamon roll. The outer bands, those outer layers continue to shift in for us. It'll wrap right back around that low, and then the low itself will begin to transition itself down to the south and bringing us more moisture as we start rolling in, creating a deeper low and a trough there with more moisture headed our way right behind it from Friday night to Saturday. But the bands of rain continue to move down south into the central California region, Southern California through tomorrow. And the heavy rain is creating that winter storm warning in effect here as these temperatures drop down. The rain turning to snow above 5,500 feet. We could see as much as about a foot to a foot and a half of snowfall into Thursday morning. We also in the Tahoe Basin there have a winter weather advisory. About 6 to 10 inches in and around those local communities. Gusts about 45 miles per hour. It's going to make travel pretty difficult there for area folks there in local communities as they'll be dealing with the slick roads and even low visibility with some of the wind gusts picking up. Now, our model snowfall totals are showing again as much as about a foot and a half of snow in and around the Donner area. About 13 inches Kirkwood, 14 in Bear Valley. And then when it's all said and done into Sunday early morning hours, we could see as much as 2 to 3 feet of snowfall. The European model showing a little less than that, closer to that 2.5 foot range. Now looking at the futurecast, the rain passed through tonight. We'll see some spotty areas and maybe a stray shower for your Thursday, but partly sunny skies. More rain arriving by Friday night into Saturday morning. And then as we take a look at our Easter forecast, some more sunshine, but we'll actually be closer to average, slightly below average in temperature, but we'll actually get some sunshine. 45 degrees overnight with 63 for the high. So it's looking more like exactly average to excellent as we see that sunshine into your afternoon hours. It'll be a nice day to maybe do an Easter egg hunt on Sunday. Saturday, though, maybe a bit of a washout here and there as we're also going to be dealing with thunderstorm chances. Temperatures upper 50s and low 60s, but next week, gorgeous with temperatures in the 70s with sunshine.
All right, Carly, thank you. Next, on to the point. The renewed push to improve the arts and entertainment scene in Sacramento, the plan for a new concert venue, plus new changes to those fees that you pay when swiping a credit card, why it could soon be cheaper. And concerning new data shows that cancer patients are getting younger, what doctors think is causing the increase. Tonight, a renewed push to improve the arts and entertainment scene in Sacramento. And the most noticeable is the construction of a new concert venue, which will be called Channel 24. And it's on 24th Street between Q and R Streets. You can see right there. And that's exactly where we find ABC 10's Devin Truby.
Yeah, Alex, this is going to be the first venue that Another Planet Entertainment has built from the ground up. If you take a look at the construction, we can already start to see the space forming, even markers for some stage on the ground. It's such a convenient location right next to a SAC-RT light rail station.
For more than a decade, Alan Scott with Another Planet Entertainment, the group behind the Fox Theater in Oakland and the Outdoor Arena in Lake Tahoe, have been looking to open a medium-sized concert venue in the Sacramento area.
There's a sweet spot of 2,000, 2,200 tickets that was being missed, and artists were skipping Sacramento.
In Sacramento, you have the iconic Ace of Spades that seats 1,000, the Memorial Auditorium, which seats 5,000 people, and then Golden One Center, which seats under 15,000 for concerts. Scott says artists often skip Sacramento to play at venues in the Bay Area and Reno because of the lack of seating.
Just in the Bay Area, for this size venue, there's probably about 300 concerts that come through, that play. So even if we do a third of those, that's 100 concerts a year.
Those concerts will take place in this new 2,100 seat capacity venue called Channel 24, featuring standard general admission on the floor and the balcony tiered standing and reserved seats. The Sacramento Music Census also identified the need for a medium-sized venue.
In Midtown alone, over 55% of our sales tax is generated through our social economy, providing both important revenue for the city as well as employment opportunities for folks.
On Tuesday night, Sacramento City Council started to work to address the other two main concerns from the census, a difficult permitting process and lack of venues for musicians.
The title of it is a limited entertainment permit. Right now, the entertainment permit really largely geared toward folks whose primary business, right, is a music venue.
Right now, a restaurant that wants live music for, say, Valentine's Day dinner has to go through the same strenuous process as someone hosting a major concert.
We're recognizing that those are different.
By making the permit process easier, the hope is more jobs will become available for musicians.
City Council plans to use American Rescue Act dollars to provide venues with some grant funding, and they'll be voting on those limited permits within the next 6 weeks, Alex.
In your price points tonight, paying with a credit card could soon get a little bit cheaper thanks to a historic agreement on so-called swipe fees. Visa and MasterCard have reached a $30 billion deal with retailers after years of battling over the fees the two companies charge merchants every time you swipe your credit card. So this deal is one of the largest antitrust settlements in U.S. history.
It limits the amount of interchange or swipe fees that Visa and MasterCard can charge merchants and retailers for a period of 5 years.
Visa says these were meaningful concessions. MasterCard says the agreement brings some closure to a long-standing dispute by delivering certainty to business owners, and the settlement is subject to final approval in court. Subaru is recalling more than 110,000 cars because of issues that may prevent the passenger airbag from deploying in a crash. The company says a sensor may crack and then short circuit, and this affects certain 2020 and 2022 Outbacks and legacy vehicles. Letters will be starting to be mailed out to owners on May 21st. Subaru says that dealers will replace the sensors on the front passenger seat free of charge. The recent news of Kate Middleton's cancer diagnosis is renewing interest in the rise of young people getting the disease. And doctors across the U.S. and around the globe have noticed a concerning new trend that cancer patients are getting younger, with more people under the age of 50 getting diagnosed.
We are seeing the rates of cancers going up.
New data suggests more and more young people are being diagnosed with cancer.
It is alarming for a number of reasons.
The findings are leaving doctors desperate to find answers to figure out what's making more young adults sick. According to federal data, diagnosis rates in the U.S. rose in 2019 to about 108 cases per 1,000 people under 50. That's up nearly 13% from 2000.
There was actually a study that was published in the British Medical Journal last year that said that the rates of cancers have gone up by almost 80% in people 14 to 49. And that was from 1990 to 2019. And that's really scary.
Gastrointestinal concerns are increasing the fastest for people under 50. Colon cancer trends have been especially concerning.
Colon cancer is rising, and we don't fully know why. There are a lot of theories that have been posited, such as maybe the gut microbiome. We're seeing more inflammation from that potentially.
Researchers believe possible causes range from inactive lifestyles, microplastics, and the consumption of processed foods.
Like increasing the amount of fiber in your diet, increasing your fruits and vegetables intake, decreasing alcohol. These are all things that we can control. And then family history does play a role.
When it comes to cancer survival, early detection is key. However, a survey by the Prevent Cancer Foundation found that 69% of U.S. adults are behind on at least one routine cancer screening.
We're not powerless to stop this. There are things that we can do to protect ourselves. Early detection does save lives, and it's also important, especially in younger people, when it's appropriate, because sometimes younger people may get a more aggressive form of cancer when it's found.
And it's important to note that the general screening guidelines are for people who are at average risk. It's also important to know your own individual risks because you may need to get screened sooner based on your family history. All right, next on To The Point. 6 years after her body was found, the renewed search for answers in a 22-year-old Raven Labit's mysterious death. This month marks 6 years since a young mother's body was found in a trash bag by a fisherman in Sacramento County. The case of how 22-year-old Raven Labit ended up in the McCullum River is still a mystery. Coming up tomorrow on To The Point, we sit down with the detectives from the Sacramento Sheriff's Office who say the case is not forgotten and it can be solved.
Relationships have changed. People that felt an allegiance to one person, or maybe an allegiance to the condition that they were in at the time, and now is the time that they feel like coming out.
Tomorrow at 6:30, right here on To The Point, you can hear from Raven's father 6 years later, plus more details on how detectives are working to solve the case and how you can help. All right, that is our show tonight. Thank you so much for watching and inviting us into your home. We love telling your stories. You already know we love getting to meet you. So if you have something that you think we should be looking into, make sure you reach out to me and the team. Remember, strangers are people we just haven't gotten to know yet. Let's take a little bit of time to get to know someone. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.